Hello friends, today I want to share my first thoughts on the new dungeon Operation Floodgate, which is part of Season 2 of the War Within in World of Warcraft. This is my first impressions of a dungeon and not a deep mechanics guide. That I will likely do in the coming week or so as we go into Season 2's Mythic Plus season. Operation Floodgate takes inspiration from the themes of underground operations and corrupt machinations. It's an interesting setting right next to the Waterworks Dam in the Ringing Deeps, and I appreciated the thematic vibe they've built around it, in keeping with this patch overall. While progressing through the dungeon, players will be instructed to pilfer 5 weapon stockpiles scattered throughout the dungeon. These stockpiles contain explosives needed to progress further into the dam. Some of these stockpiles are located near groups of mobs, while 2 of the 5 become available after defeating Big Moma and the Demolition Duo. Here is a map of the location of all 5 of the weapon stockpiles, as well as a dungeon layout with the bosses. Now let's talk about the trash mobs. I must say, there seems to be quite a lot of it, with some abilities that could potentially create challenges at higher levels. While we just did this on normal, Blizzard's decision to make the ground effects even more obvious was really appreciated. It's a good balance of signalling to the player they have to respond without add-on levels of feedback. What surprised us was the variety of routes available to approach the bosses. This could open up some interesting opportunities for min-maxing routes as the season starts, or some confusion for groups that don't quite know where to go like we didn't. In this aspect, it reminded me a bit of Fatal Desire, where eventually optimal routes were found and shared. It's nice to see a bit of open-endedness like this, even if it's just the illusion of choice, as there has been quite a trend of linear dungeon crawling for a little while. With this dungeon, we will face 4 new bosses, each bringing some unique mechanics to the table. Here's a quick rundown of the bosses. A towering mech pilot, Big Moma commands a fleet of drones. These will require some coordination to get down in higher difficulties, as you need to time your cooldowns into a burn phase and let your healers get ready. Demolition Duo, Giza, Quickfuse and Bront are apparently the brains and brawl duo of Venture Co. Looks like we're going to have to do some footwork fun on this boss, as has a bit of a mini game involving barrels and positioning. With a design that reflects the murky environment of the dungeon, Swampface looks like he'll be there to test the healers with healing debuffs on the tanks and some interesting movement limiting mechanics for the rest of us. The final boss at the heart of the Waterworks Dam, the electric mastermind Gizel Gigazap experiments away on something that he calls the Project. These bosses contribute to the rich visual narrative of Operation Floodgate, making each encounter feel distinct and engaging. It's nice to see that the bosses have new mechanics that we haven't really seen before, rather than the standard don't get hit by a frontal, don't stand in fire. I think this expansion as a whole, that can be said for most encounters, which is truly impressive given the history of this game and the number of encounters that the dungeon team have had to create. There are some notable drops in this dungeon. There are trinkets for all the roles on the loot table that look interesting, but from a quick look at the sims on Blood Mallet, probably require some love when compared to some of the other options for DPS roles if they're going to be competitive. Weapon wise, agility and strength based classes will have a field day. We have a dagger, a warglaive, a bow, a 2-handed strength sword and a 2-handed agility polearm up for grabs. Intellect users, sorry but no dice at this time, but we can't win every time, eh? For the collectors out there, there's a rather nifty battle companion, Kraboom, and it might just be my favourite in a long time. Good luck with the RNG gods for that one. As mentioned, we only step foot quickly in normal difficulty for a sneak peek, so I don't have insights on the boss's relative difficulties just yet, as I haven't had the opportunity to play on the PTR this time round. However, the aesthetics and the overall theme of the dungeon are quite strong, the trash looks like it will keep us on our toes, and the bosses are a fun addition to Season 2. So that wraps up my first impressions of Operation Floodgate. I'm looking forward to diving deeper and sharing my experiences with the season as I start making my way up to Keystone Legend next week. Make sure to check back in for more content and to see how it plays out. Thanks for watching and happy gaming.